Sign up now at elevate.miami.edu for my course, Organized Rhyme.
Looking at the word legacy, while involving some wordplay, I'll use the first syllable to build upon. We'll use the first syllable, leg. For the second syllable, we'll use an. And for the third syllable, we'll use the word knee. So now we have leg and knee. Can we use it in context with legacy? Let's just see.
Jumping on the freeway, doing about 90 in the fast lane. I know life needs change, but some things will always stay the same. Fast car, fast life, fast moves, fast star, fast strife, fast rules, fast ways to make it all look cool. But what does it mean to you? Oh, you trying to make it great. Oh, but you grinding your life away. Oh, you trying to make it great. Oh, but you grinding your life away. Oh, fleeting fast, changing paths. Oh, this shit don't last forever. Fleeting fast, changing paths. Oh, this shit don't last forever.
What up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of What Words Are Worth. And today I got a special guest by the name of Jacqueline Constance. She's a Philly-based singer and songwriter. She's able to blend hip hop and R&B perfectly. And she has like this soulful jazz voice that when she does storytelling and writes lyrics, you can feel it, you can see it, and you almost feel like you're in the studio there with her. She's also able to just craft the type of lyrics that make you think about what's going on in your life, what may make you feel better, why you're going through these things, and just gives you an emotional connection that a lot of people aren't able to give you. She's garnered attention from acts like BJ the Kid, Fonte of Little Brother, Questlove, Anderson .Paak, and many others. So welcome to the stage, Jacqueline Constance.
Hey, good evening.
I really appreciate having you here.
No problem. Thanks for having me. Like, especially on like a platform like this. Like, I'm always appreciative, but especially coming from you, like, I'm grateful.
Thank you. And all those out there that if you listen to my music, you know, you understand why she's like on every project pretty much. And like, while I always call her because she has this voice, the way she writes, and I mean, she just has it all. So I wanted to make sure that I can share this platform to share with people that don't know about you, to get to know you, and vice versa. People that don't know me, you share it, they'll know me too. But overall, I really want to celebrate how dope you are.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you. Look here. I just feel like I just do what I can. I do what I do, and like hopefully people like connect with it and enjoy it, and like, oh man, but like music really, it speaks to me. Like that's what I do. Like I just love it.
So how long, like when did you start like singing? Like what was the first thing you heard and said, this is what I want to do?
Ooh, okay. So I tell this story all the time, and my mom loves that I tell this story because she gets all the credit, right? So, I mean, I essentially grew up like most like Black folks in America. Like we just had music around, whether that was like vinyls, whether that was concerts, it was just music always like in the, in my presence. But I was like 9 years old, and my mom signed me up for like a talent show because I would sing like little ditties around the house, and like I would mimic stuff on the radio, but I wasn't really like a singer. Like I didn't know that's what it was. I just knew that I could like mimic people like off the radio.
Yeah.
So my mom signed me up, and she said, "You're going to do this." And I'm like rebellious, like a rebellious little 9-year-old, like a second grader. Like, what do you mean? Like getting in front of people and singing. And I performed Brandy's Angel in Disguise.
Okay.
And that was the first time I performed ever. And I've been performing ever since. So I give it to my mom for like seeing something in me that I didn't like see yet and being like, no, you're gonna do this. And
Yeah,
I've been rocking.
it gotta be a little scary, like, because when you're that age, nobody knows. You don't know.
Right, right.
and,
And that's the part. Like you don't know what this is. You just know that you do a thing and that thing makes you happy. And that's it. Like there's no real deeper connotation to it. It's just like I like doing this thing. It gives me some joy and that's that. But my mom saw it as like, no, you're actually like pretty dope at this. So like you should do this. And I'm like, okay. And then I did it. And then rest is history.
So one of the things that's special about you is not only are you a dope singer, songwriter, and all that, is that you're able to like produce your own music and then performing it live. Like, so when did you get that courage? So like, we know you could write and sing, but when did you get that courage to say, I'm just gonna make my own stuff?
You know what? I think part of it came out of coming back to Philly. So like long story short, like I went to college in Ohio. I went to Wilberforce University.
Okay.
And by the time I came back, graduated, got my bachelor's, came back, I really didn't know anybody.
What you got your bachelor's in?
I got my bachelor's in music.
And
with emphasis in voice. So like a lot of my
okay. That explains a lot of stuff there.
Yeah, so like that's always interesting. Yeah, it's always interesting when people like ask me like how you like I have a degree. But my concentration was like classical music. So that gave me a lot of like the tools I have now. But when I came back to Philly after graduating, you're looking like, damn, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. That's why I love doing this. Because when I hear the answers, it explains so much other things when I hear you now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I got a lot of tools from even just having a classical background. Like there's so much I even carry into my songwriting and performing now. But I came back to Philly after graduating in 2012. And I didn't know nobody. Like I was just like, I knew I had my friends, of course, but like as far as like music industry, people performing, like the folks that was really jigging in the city, I didn't know anybody. And I was going to like open mics, meeting people, of course, and doing that sort of spanning of the musical circles. But I was like, okay, like I was finding like bands here and there, and I've worked with amazing musicians.
Right.
But I was at home one day and me and my roommate, we were watching like YouTube, just being bored. And she pulled up this video of Kimbra. I don't know if you know who Kimbra is. Just amazing, like she's amazing, like electronic performers, just like pop music.
Okay.
But it was her performing, I think at South by Southwest. And it was in like, and this is when South by Southwest was like nitty gritty South by Southwest, like in people's backyards, like people got the red Solo cups. They just out there having a good time. And she had this device and like, she's looping, like she's layering vocals. And I'm like, what is this? What is this device? How can I get it? I need it. My roommate was like, I will literally buy this for you right now. Like, so like she literally sold into me that night. Like we went to like Guitar Center. She bought it for me. And she want me my little blue loop pedal, like a TC Helicon voice live play. And I spent, and it's on YouTube somewhere if someone wants to find it. I spent 72 hours. I stayed up for 72 hours playing with this looper. I didn't sleep. I barely ate. I stayed up because I was so fascinated. I'm like, oh, I could layer. And like, if you know me, you know, like I'm big into like arranging and like just layering vocals. Like that's my jam. So I'm like, oh, okay. I see what we could do. But I still wasn't intending to like be a part of my like shows. Right. It was like something cool to play with. But then I introduced it at a show and it was just like the silence that entered the room when I started doing my thing. I've never experienced anything like that. So I'm like, okay, all right. But which led me into like, if I could do that and I could layer live, I could produce.
Right.
So it all kind of like lent together like in this big like tidal wave of like one thing led to one thing, led to one thing. And now here I am, just out here doing the things. So
yeah,
like,
what's so wild is like the first person I saw doing that was from Philly too. And it was Scratch from the Roots. He was in New York and he had the machine. He was on stage and beatboxing into it. And I was like, I've never seen nobody perform like that. So then when I saw you doing it, I only knew about it from him because that's the person I saw do it. So it's so crazy that it was another Philly person that actually was doing that. So then how'd you get to the performing live aspect, like Instagram and all these other places?
I think it was like the natural progression of like wanting to share this thing, this newly found thing that like I had grown to love like so deeply that allowed me to like expand in this creative realm so far. It was like, I just want to share it. And then like slowly but surely, like I'm creating videos and they're going like viral. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Can I talk to y'all real quick? Is that all right? Somebody asked me once, Jack, what's your intentions for the Philly music scene? What you been planning? If you really understood what's about to happen, I'm on a mission to take this music shit and be the captain. Flip it, twist and control it, I'm raising the bar. Flip it, twist and control it, I'm taking it far. A soul singing creep, I be a lady in these streets, but a beast on these beats, so don't let this uptown address fool ya. Just let these melodies school ya. Don't get it confused, this ain't Jonah and the Well. I'm swallowing whole ships, bitch, just call me Ishmael. So I be running through my own hood, but I'm in that new whip. Same old attitude, but I'm on that new shit. My third eye twitching like I'm coming with a vision, cause I'm Sunday with the Smith and atmosphere started shifting, cause it's 24 hours and 365 days. And like through like stuff like that, I've gotten like to talk and to meet like amazing artists and other, other loopers. And like, I think my like videos, as far as like how far it's taken me, I think the crazy story I have is meeting BJ the Chicago Kid.
Okay. Yeah, tell us how that clicked up.
This is random. I have a ton of random stories, I promise you.
I want to hear. I want to hear.
So I want to say this was like 2016, 2017. And I was being managed by my good friend Ambush. And randomly, he was like, yo, BJ Chicago Kid. Before that, I had done a cover of his song Church. Okay. And he ended up, BJ ended up like putting a few comments under the video, like, "Though this is cold, like this is amazing, this is dope," which, artists tend to do. I love it, I appreciate it, you know what I'm saying? But I kind of left it there. Like it was like, oh, this is dope, you know what I'm saying? Like I appreciate that, like, like energy, like boom. So randomly, maybe like a couple days later that weekend, Ambush was like, yo, BJ Chicago Kid's performing in New York, you want to go? Of course I do. We out. So end up driving, seeing them at SOB's, amazing performance. Like, just like probably top 5 performances I've ever seen.
Wow. Okay.
So, show wraps up. I'm getting ready to go. Like I'm time to leave. I don't know how Ambush managed his way to security. Security then waves us over like, oh yeah, go down to the green room.
That's a good manager. That's what a good manager does. They make that happen.
Right. I don't even know how he did his manager thing. It worked. We're now in the green room. So I'm expecting just like we just gonna chill there, maybe get an autograph. So I see him and BJ talking, but I see BJ mouth like, she's here. And I'm like, you talking about me? You're not talking about me. So I ended up going back there, talking to him. And we ended up talking for a little bit, just like rapping about like how I got started in music, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and we tried to connect and didn't quite work, which happens. It's the industry. But I feel like that was like the part I'm like, oh, I actually do like some really dope things. Like this can possibly take me somewhere outside of like my own like the art of it and just
Right.
creating. I'm like, oh, this is
So
nice.
it solidified your confidence as like using the machine and being a looper. You were like, oh, this is
Yeah.
official. Just
Yeah.
that one I guess like because you could have, you know, a lot of times you could have been like, nah, that's cool, don't buy me that, you know. Nah,
No, real life.
that, you know, but you said, yeah, you know, give me the machine, and then you stayed up with it all that time,
Yeah.
so it paid off. So
Yeah.
explain to me what's that writing style that, you know, how do you come about your writing style, because you're able to put a lot of like heart into what you write
Mm,
that also is able to match the tonality of what you're saying. So you're
mm,
not only just saying stuff, but the way you say it is, it kind of has like the perfect consistency and cooperation. So where did you
mm.
get this writing style from?
First of all, that dope explaining it like that. Like, ooh. Um, so I was watching an interview some time ago from like Jill Scott, and like she was talking about her writing style. She mentioned how when she receives music or tracks or she works with musicians, like the music itself has to have what she calls like water. It has to have something to swim through.
Wow.
And a lot of times, whether it's me creating the music, whether it's me working with producers, no matter what the case may be, it has to have that. Like there has to be something within the track itself, within the
Yeah.
music itself, that allows me to kind of like free flow through it. And like, I don't know about anybody else, but like writing, creating music is it can be very like spiritual at times. And a lot of times, like it won't even feel like me writing. It will feel like I'm connecting to something higher that's kind of guiding me. And like, cause I'll listen to songs like later, like I'll do, we musicians, so like we record late at night and you give it the morning test to make
Yeah.
sure it still sounds the same way it did before you went to bed. And it's like, oh, okay. If it passed the morning test, then I'm like, oh, it's Gucci. Like that's rock. Let's continue to build on it. But I'm just a fan of like words. Like I'm not a poet, but like I love poetry. Like I love being able to like sculpt out sonically what's happening in the music with the lyrics I write. So like that's kind of how like I breathe into like the music I write. And I'm just a fan of like words and like soliloquies and writings, and like I love it all. So like I try to be as like thoughtful and intentional about like what I write, but also like real.
That's
Like
the
if I'm
perfect word. That's the perfect word for you. If
yeah.
like if I had to describe somebody, that's what I would say. Every time I hear you're singing and the lyrics, everything is intended for what it's aiming to pronounce and announce. So that's the perfect word, like you said, being
Yeah.
intentional.
Thank you. Like it all has to make sense to me, but it also has to be like real. Like I'm not one of those ones that I can't speak on things that I haven't really experienced. Like that's not really my ministry. Like
Yeah.
I'm sure plenty of people can do that, and like that's cool and speak on. But like for me, it has to be either something I can relate to or something I've experienced. And I think that allows me like a better understanding of what I'm writing and how I'm writing it, because it's something that I'm connected to. It's that water. It's that like I can pull from my experiences, from what I've seen, from what I've heard, from what I want to share, and I can create something really dope that hopefully, touches people, hopefully like riles people up, hopefully inspires people. So like it's all about the intention for me. Like it has to make sense.
So when you're writing and it takes you to a spiritual place, sometimes it feels like that. How are you able to still connect with it if you're writing? Are you doing it with the paper and pen? Because some people I've heard say they feel more connected writing that way. Or are you on a computer, phone, or you just going in the booth and letting it out? How do you maintain that connection? Through what process?
You know what? I use all of it. So I
Oh,
have notepads and notepads. Like I actually can pull up one like
yeah, yeah.
literally right now. Like this type of I have like tens of these just around my studio. Like my phone is filled with notes, and then like my computer is just filled with songs that are just mumbles. Like it really just depends on like what I'm feeling, like what I'm experiencing. But if I had a preferred method, it's
Yeah.
probably just like old school pen and paper, because even like the feeling of writing it out, scratching out something, taking an arrow, moving something from the top to the bottom, like that sort of like illustrates what I'm feeling. Like, and even depending on like what the feel is for the song, that's how I'll write it. So like if I'm writing a song like really like crazy, angry, like the writing might be a little bit more jumbled on the page. It might be a little bit bigger. It might have a couple, you know what I'm saying, like FUs in the corner, where if it's something a little softer, like it might be in cursive. Like, so it really, like I use everything as like this intentional space of like creating like the theme and the vibe of what I want to like fill the song with. But like
Yeah.
that pen and paper, that's top tier. That's top tier. Like the electronic is like it's convenient. Like if I'm out and
Yeah.
about and like that's convenient, but that pen, ink to paper, top tier.
I've
Chef's kiss.
heard I've heard somebody I interviewed the other day, they said like the paper and pen is dope because like um when they're writing in it, how hard the indentations are from writing dictates how angry they probably are too. I thought that was interesting too, right? Like I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, if the writing is kind of just regular ink level, regular, that means everything's cool. But
Right.
if it's mad dark and the book is engraved, that's like they angry. And I thought that was kind of maybe like even with what you're saying, it's like artistic in a way.
Yeah.
I believe it's my boy Superstition. I think he said like, oh no, it was Big Pooh from Little Brother. So he
Mm-hmm.
was saying like he writes his, and then he actually gave his lyrics in a frame one day to somebody, which was dope. Just
Wow. Wow.
so that those papers and the way you're writing them is art in itself to a
Yeah.
lot of people. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
then when you're writing, what's your preference? Like you like to write in the studio, like going out, or you like to write at home, which is your studio probably, or like what's your preference?
So I'm a little bit, it really just depends. I have a studio at home, so I'm a little bit spoiled. So I can like wake up at 3 a.m. and be like, oh, I got an idea. Like I want to, put some music to it or whatever. But I think being in a studio, like I'm very like also very particular about like a studio session. Like I'm not the one that's gonna have 1,000 people in there. We not smoking it up. Like we not doing none of that. Like I
Yeah,
need to be in a vibe. It might just be me and the engineer, maybe a friend. Like that's as far as it go, because it really gotta be, like I said, it gotta be intentional, and the space has to allow me to be as big as I need to. And like I
yeah,
don't feel like you necessarily can do all that when you have a party going on in the studio. That's not my vibe. Like
yeah. It's not me
no,
neither.
yeah, no disrespect. Like some people need that for their creative
For
process, you know what I'm
sure.
saying? No shade to them. That's not me though. I can't, and plus I'm also an introvert, so I don't like people anyway. So like I don't, you know what I'm saying? So it's like I don't need everybody and their mama in the studio. I just need like nice, cool energy that I can like be as big and take up as much space as I need to get these songs off. So
So that
but
would lead to kind of the vibe, like
yeah.
atmosphere. What's the atmosphere? So so you kind of answered some of that, but
Yeah.
is it daytime, nighttime, lights low? What's your preference in the studio? What it gotta look like when you walk in?
Ooh, okay. So first of all, I gotta be quiet. It has to be
Okay.
quiet. I really don't prefer, like I don't really have a time of day
Okay.
preference, but if it's vibey, some good lighting, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Um, like temperature got to be cool. Like it just it has to feel good. Like it
Yeah.
has to feel good, but it also like has to feel clear. Like I don't know if anyone's like has this experience, but I do when like you walk into a space or a room and it doesn't feel clear, like it doesn't feel like there's too much happening or there's too much energy bouncing off the walls, and it's like, this not gonna work. So it got to be clear energetically for me. Like it has to be so like chill, like, and we overuse the term vibe, but like it got to be a vibe. Like it got to be a space where like I feel super comfortable.
And
And
do
like,
you have to walk around? Do you have to like get a space to pace? Like you need to like kind of get up and maybe think, or do you just sit there and just kind of until it's kind of done?
so I sit a lot. Like if I'm pacing, that means I'm trying to get my brain to like settle.
Okay.
But I'll like sit and like I will sit and I will go through pages of lyrics and I'll just write, and it's just like, that's why I need the room to be clear. Like I need the energy to be cool, because like it may, depending on where I'm at and what I'm feeling, it might take me, a couple hours. It might take me 15 minutes to write a song.
Okay.
So it really just depends on like what I'm feeling, what I'm experiencing, if the vibes are right, and if my energy is right. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes my energy is not right, and it's like I might try to create something, but then I don't like it. It doesn't pass the morning test, and then we got to regroup. But I'm always good for going back to something and like recreating it or restructuring it until it works. And that's the thing about me too. Like I'm never stuck on one idea or so married to an idea that I'm not willing to change it. Like there's so many songs that like I've written that like I've gone back to and listened to again. It's like, that's too wordy. Let me rework this. Like the concept is there, but like let me keep going. And then when it hits and when it's there, it's like, we got it. There it is.
So do you look at it like if you're doing something for somebody else, you'll consider having a shorter time schedule, but knowing it's your song, you'll be like, all right, well, I could take a couple of days, I could take a couple of weeks on this one, or put it to the back burner. Do you have those considerations when writing?
Yeah, like I have to, especially if I'm doing things or doing projects for other people. I feel like that's a large consideration. Like I have to be, conscious of timelines, and like I don't ever want to disrespect people and in that way of being like just allowing things to like fall off my radar. But like life happens, like
Right.
and things happen, like, and I give myself that agency and grace. But it's like, you got to, especially like, life has been life, and like it's
for real.
Like real talk. So it's like I have to give myself that grace, but I also am realistic too. So it's like if there's something that like I just like there's something I really just can't do, I'll just say, nah, I can't. Like I've been in the process of trying to wrap up my own project, and there's been a lot of people like hitting me up like, can you feature? Can you do this? And it's like, nah, I can't. Plus there was just life happening. Like there was just life and grief and transitions and all these things happening. I'm like, I can't even devote the energy and time that I will want to give you something that's quality. So I would much rather just say no if I know that what I'm going to give you is not going to be the truest version of like myself and what I feel like I need and what I can give you and what you deserve. Like I don't ever want to give people like half-ass check. Like I don't want to do that, So just being like honest about that, especially when it comes to like creating and like the timelines. But for my own stuff, I ain't gonna lie, it takes a little minute. It takes like this album I've probably been working on since the beginning of 2020.
That's cool.
Because I said this life and like my own music feels like I rework things so often that it's like, let me add this. But this project has been like I've had people be like, no, it's done. Don't touch it. Don't add nothing. Don't subtract anything. It's perfect. Don't and sometimes you need that. So it really depends on who I'm working with. If it's my own stuff, like I said, it can range. The time frames can range so far, But
I
I'm
think what's
trying to
good
be
about
realistic.
what's good about you, that from knowing you for all these years, is that you're easy to communicate with, and you'll communicate with somebody else. Like, you might, you got a lot of things going on, but you'll always get back to me or whoever it is. I think you have a good reputation for getting back to people and letting them know if you could do it, when you could do it. And I think that goes a long way within itself, communicating with people about what's going on. I think that's if people do that a lot more, like, I got this going on, I ain't gonna be able to do it, and this and that. I think that helps a lot with going forward.
Yeah. Cause I've, just learning, especially just being around like the amazing people that I am, like you, and like I feel like relationship is really important. And I feel like a lot of people don't necessarily, especially like trying to navigate the music industry, like I feel like people lose that sometimes. Um, so I'm always big on like making sure that I'm not just maintaining the relationship, but the relationship is there. And like I feel like communication is super important. I feel like communication is important in any relationship.
Yeah.
But in ones that that you value, ones that has been like super like instrumental in what you're trying to do and what they're trying to do, like I try to be as transparent as possible, like because like I said, life happens,
Yep.
like we can't escape that. But I could be communicative and be like, look, life is whooping me down right now. It's giving me the 1-2, like I owe her money. I'm not gonna be able to get this done in time, but I haven't forgotten. It's still there. It's still on my priority list. It's just, child, I haven't eaten in 3 days. Like it's that type time. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, communication is important. Relationship is important, and being able to maintain that is hopefully how I like keep even some of my reputation
I
around.
vouch for that. You're easy to communicate with, and like giving you music, it's always like there's an anticipation of excitement from on my end to hear what you come up with. So that one made me want to ask you, do you always write to the beat, or you always have songs written already, lyrics prepared? What's your preference with that?
It's both. It's both. If there's a beat, a track, music, instrumental that I get that like gives me something, like I'm already humming a melody line, then it's like, okay, I'll go with that. But I probably, like every other songwriter I know, I have over like 500 voice notes of just mumbles, lyrics.
When are you
So
gonna get to those? Right? I know. Like,
right,
when are we going back to those? Like, really? Like, it's crazy.
right. Which I do that a lot. So like a lot of what I've been doing, especially in the past like year or two, is like I'm gonna start going back through these notes, and I'm gonna start like making a mental note of like just melodies, how things flow, like especially if I really dig them, and like they're in their own little folder. Like some are like, okay, they're cool, but some of them are like, oh no, this could be a nice record.
Yeah.
So sometimes if I need inspiration, I'll go through some of those, and like between the instrumental, the music, give me what I need, and like that file, I usually find something. I usually like am able to get to where I need to be able to write, start working on the chorus, start working on the verse. And I'm a big like chorus first girl, then the verse,
Okay.
then the verse. Like I usually start with the chorus if it lends that, if that's not already there, and then I go to the verse, because the chorus gives me, it's like the chorus to me is like it's like your introduction.
Right.
It's like, this is what the paper is going to be about. Like it's your thesis statement. It's like, okay, and then your verses are what the paper is about. So that's kind of how like I work, like chorus first and then like the
think that's
verses.
dope. That's dope. Like, you just gave me like a thought of like a question and stuff like that. I'm like, yo, that's a dope question to ask about. You like made me think of like adding that question for the next time I talk to somebody.
Yes,
That's
add
dope.
it.
So
Yes.
so when you all right, so the beat picking process then, right? When somebody sends something to you, how long does it take before you know you like it, you going with it? Or do you have beats that you've picked and they just sit there, you know how that is, just getting beats.
Okay, so I was I was just talking to one of my really good friends who's also one of my really good producers. His name is Sound Junkie. I worked with him a lot. Him and his group Ratchet Gods, like we've done a lot of like, especially my bigger singles they've done or he's done. And I'm like a big stickler of like not sitting on tracks, especially from producers. I feel like because I don't want to get in the way of your bag. If there's someone that's going to deliver this in a timely fashion and this is going to be hot, I would much rather you give it to them than wait on me. Like, especially if it's something that like, and this is that communication piece, right? Especially if something that I'm not really like digging. So if like, let's say Sound Junkie sends me a file of like 15, 20 songs, right, and like I really like mess with 5 of them, I might start writing to them like within the hour of receiving them, just to put out the intention, like these 5 right here, this is what I'm working on. Like, and then it'd be like the other ones, I'm not really feeling the other ones. Like, but I hate sitting on tracks because it could get a little tricky. Like you end up writing a song.
You kind of become like a hoarder.
Right.
You got mad beats, and then
right.
you telling the producer, I didn't get a chance to listen to all those yet. But you're sitting with all of those that you ain't gonna listen to right then and there.
Right.
But I'm on the vibe of what you're saying. Like, I'll go through, then I say, yo, these 4, these 3, I like these right here. The others, I'm not really vibing on. I had the other day, somebody contacted me. It was like, yo, I just sold that beat, this number, this and that. I was like, cool. Like, hey, keep it moving, let it move. I don't want to hold up your flow of selling beats and your livelihood or anything. I used to think, I don't know if you think like this when we were younger, when we would get beats, I think a lot of people was like, oh man, they got rid of that beat. Like that's the beat that was about to take you to the next level. So you was
mad, just upset. No, oh my gosh, I don't know how many times I've had that happen where it's like I've gotten it, I've let it sit in my hard drive, made the craziest record, and it's like, this is so dope, but it sits in a hard drive, and then like a year go by, and then I hear the record placed on somebody else, and it's like, damn, this is gonna be the one.
This is gonna be the one.
It's not gonna be the one no more. Oh man. But even going back to like my own production, like I started like producing because like plus all the creative stuff, but like I was hitting those walls where like I wasn't completing things in a timely enough fashion, and the tracks I was really digging, they would get sold or they would get given away, and that process will move a lot quicker. So it's like, I got this idea, this concept, this music, these lyrics, but no track.
Right.
Let's create it. Like, so some of it came out of like, scarcity of like, I don't have this track no more, but this song is fire. Okay, what can we do? How can we fix it? Because a lot of it was on me. Like, I gotta give, I gotta be real. Like, it was my fault. I took too long. Like, that's why I don't like sitting on anything more than like a couple months unless I'm really communicating with the producer and they're like, okay, these are yours, which only really happens if I have the relationship. Like, and even then it's still like, if you sit on this too long and somebody, like I've had tracks that I've like received and then I hear them on like another like larger artist, and it's like, don't wait on me. If Nicki Minaj hit you up today and say, I want it, you better give it to Nicki Minaj, y'all. If Cardi hit you up and say, hey, this is dope, then you slide that right to Cardi. Like, I ain't trying to get in no one's way. So but the tracks itself though, they have to, for me, I'm a melodic girl. Okay. So like the melody and I'm a singer, so the melody has to be there. Okay. Or it has to be spacious enough and not too much happening that I could do it on my own. Like, like, because I'm big on backgrounds, I'm big on harmonies, and I could fill in a track with just how I do my arrangements.
But you're right. You write anything though, right? You can write anything. So
Yeah.
whether it's noisy or like whatever the case, you find your space on things pretty much anyway. So are you like available if somebody wants to like have you like do songwriting and stuff like that? Are you so because I'm
Absolutely.
up here bragging about you with your skills and all that. So I gotta let people know that if you need
Yeah.
her to pin something for you too on some singing, you should holler at her, send her the track, and whatever her process is from there. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Yeah. And like I'm always like, I love songwriting. I love creating those things. Like, if you have an idea and you just need help with it, or you want me to write something, like, I'm open to all of that. Like, and I'm always open to just, expand out the art. Like, it's all art to me. So, like, I'll never, unless, like I said, unless like life really is like giving
right.
me the 1-2, like, I usually won't say no. Like, I might be like, this might take me a little minute, like, I'll be transparent about it, but like, I love doing that. So I'm always open to like songwriting. I don't think I've ever actually song written for someone else. Like,
Okay.
I've had instances where like I thought I was, and then the person or the people I'm working with is like, no, we actually like you on it. Just come in.
Yeah, yeah,
We're just gonna keep your vocal. It's fine.
yeah. I can see that
Okay.
too.
Okay,
So
that's fine.
within those writing times, the storytelling aspect, right? Um, how are you able to write a story? And to me, you don't use basic words. That's the thing I've noticed too. It's very poetic when you're writing these stories for songs.
Yeah.
Like I may send you something and it'll come back and you may mention like a butterfly on a cocoon and all this. And I'm like, man, I was talking about this, but she made it so poetic. Like, so how do you what's your vibe when you're storytelling? Like do you have certain intentions as far as like being graphic, being poetic? What's your rules to storytelling?
Ooh, that's a great question. Actually, I don't think there are any rules. I think for me in songwriting, especially in the way that I songwrite, like, there are just things that happen musically, especially if like depending on what the melodies are, that may require some, like, to me, some like deeper like poeticism. Like, and then there's some songs that it's like, no, it needs to sound more like a conversation. I think it really just depends on what the song, what the instrumental, what the music is giving, and
Okay.
me trying to like match that. Because like I said earlier, like, I come from a classical background, and if you know anything about like classical music and how it's like shaped up to be what it is today, a lot of it comes from like the art of like theater,
Yeah.
right? And a lot of that dialogue is very poetic, even in like the modern idea of like operas and musicals and things like that. A lot of those lyrics, a lot of like that songwriting is super poetic, right? But some of it is conversational, especially in like some of the current iterations of like classical music. It's a lot more conversational. So I think it just lends to what the music is saying and what I can slide in. Cause like I said, I love words.
Yeah.
I'm a big reader, like, love books. So I try to be as like engaging with the music and like intentional with the music that I'm writing to, and that is so it all makes sense. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense because it just to me it feels like you're just delving into a different well of words through your book reading, through your classical experience, through all the knowledge that you have, and then you just like you're able to go a step further. That's
Yeah.
that's what I hear because like when I get the hooks back and hear what you write on songs that we may do, I'm like I wouldn't even have thought of those words to use for that. So
Yeah.
it just sounds like you're able to delve and go a little bit further than maybe some of the average people. But talking to you now, hearing about the degree, the classical
Yeah.
and hip hop and all, like you now that I know all of this stuff about you, now when I hear it going forward, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna be like, oh, that's like a layup for her, you know what I'm saying? Now, you know what I'm saying? I used to have
Yeah.
wonder of like, yo, why is she thinking of this and then that? Where is she, what is she thinking of? And now I know you're just like an expert in all these things that add up to where you are. So what's your studio setup? I had mentioned, I think earlier in the intro about like the things you use. If you don't mind telling people, what do you use with the looping, and when you're doing your live show, what do you need? What's the essentials?
Ooh, the essentials. Okay, so usually when I perform, I use some sort of looper. So that whether that's the Voice Live Play that I'm actually using now as an interface for this, or I use my Voice Live 3 Extreme, which is like a larger pedal, has all kinds of crazy effects and like buttons. It's crazy. With that, I usually have like some sort of MIDI piano or synthesizer because I also play the keys a little bit. So I usually have something like that. And I also usually bring a computer and then like a beat pad, whether that's my machine or that's just like an iPad sort
And
of
when
beat pad
you
situation.
say machine, because some people might think you mean like a machine, or you mean like the brand machine. You know what I mean?
Yes. So the brand. So I think it's called an MK3.
Dope.
And I use that. It kind of looks like an MPC. I think it was kind of modeled after that. It has the pads, the light up
Yeah.
pads. I think, but I'll use that, especially for like larger gigs. But usually, if it's something a little bit smaller, I'll have an iPad that has that program on it, so I'll use that as my Beat Machine interface. But
Because Jacqueline, I actually be putting the pictures up of the stuff you're saying. So that's why I'm like trying to be mad specific, because that's what the show is about. So people will look and
yeah,
be like, oh, that's the machine joint. That's
yeah,
that I'm getting that pedal. I'm getting that. So they can get your setup and stuff like that. So that's why I'm like
yes,
just asking, because how dope the stuff come out. They,
yeah.
they're gonna hear it and watch and be like, what she got? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
And I don't gatekeep. I don't do
yeah,
that. So like I'm telling you like what I use because I feel like especially loop pedals for any like singer, I think it's just helpful because it teaches you how to like lay your harmonies and like vocals and things like that. And like you could just do really cool things in the studio during
right.
this. So like I'll never gatekeep. So I'm in that boat of like, yeah, I'm sharing everything. So like TC Helicon Voice Live 3 Extreme is what I usually use. I used
Okay.
to my synthesizer, actually I've tried to get her repaired. I just need to get another one, but I don't even think they make this model. It was a Novation Ultra Nova.
Okay.
But I don't even think they make Ultra Novas anymore, Novation. So I gotta give me a different John. Um, and then also I just have a standard like MIDI piano. It's not really too special. And then I use my MacBook Air as an interface. And
Dope.
then I use either my MK3 machine, beat machine, or I use the machine app
Okay.
that you could get off of the Apple store. It's free. Now there are beat packs you can buy. Amazing. Invest in them. Awesome. There's also some looping functions in the app. I've seen it used. Amazing. But that's kind of like that's my setup. Like that's what
Okay.
I typically use, especially for live performances.
Yeah, because I'm very basic with it. I just say the verse and then I send it out. I got a simple setup here, but when I when I hear the gear that y'all have, like I'm always looking to improve. Like I'm just starting the show, so like I hear y'all mention a mic, I'm up here like, okay, when I move on and add pieces to what I got, okay, I'm gonna get that mic. Oh, okay, they have that mixer and this and that. So I'm learning from y'all like all these extra things that I know I wouldn't normally be touching and messing around with, right? So
Yeah.
I like listening to what the studio setup is. All right, so I
Mhm.
got one more question. Is 3 artists that you recommend us to listen to?
Ooh, okay. So Jacqueline Constance first. Check me out. Uh, check me out. Okay. Listen, I'm on everything. Okay.
Yep.
That's but I have been like really into Alex Isley lately.
Okay. Alex
Um
Isley.
Alex Isley, like R&B singer. When I say there's not a thing she's been on, whether her own music or featured, it's all wins. It's all hits. Every single piece of music. I have yet to hear a bad Alex Isley song. Everything is just lush. Melodies amazing. Oh, so good. So good. So I listen to her like every day. I'm not even gonna lie to you. But my third, I don't want to be too generic, but I'm, especially with everything that's been going on, I feel like a lot of people are like not just now getting into like Kendrick Lamar, but have been like, if you get into, I'm a Kendrick stan, okay? If you're gonna start listening to Kendrick, especially after everything that's happened transpired within the last couple months, okay? I'm partial to Section 80. I would start there. He has an album before that. He has Overly Dedicated. It's a great body of work. But when he really starts to shine, it's Section 80. Start there, folks. So that's my three: Jacqueline Constance, Alex Isley, Kendrick Lamar. Boom.
All right, so we're about to wrap up. So before we leave, can you give your Instagram and all your social media, and so people get in touch with you, so you can write them some hit records and so on and so forth?
Yeah. So my socials are the same on everything. So Jackcon Music, JACQCON Music. That's on everything. That's on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all the social media. If you want to hit me up for stuff, use that same Jackcon Music, just add a Gmail at the end, JACQCON Music at gmail.com. My schedule is a little bit more free now that my album is wrapped up.
Nice.
And so
I'm
definitely I'm excited. Oh God, I'm so excited too. I haven't put a date on it yet because I'm finicky and
let me know when it's gonna come out and when it's set up so I can pre-order it, because that's one of the things I try to pride myself on with a lot of my friends. I can't do everybody's album, y'all. So I don't do everybody's, but I try to do people I know that's trying. Like, I know where everybody's kind of at in their level of their career for some things. Some people, and I get it, some people might not buy mine and do it. I get it, y'all. But what I'm saying, the people that I know that want that support and need that support, I try to make sure I pre-order it. You let me know, and so I want to know. I'm gonna pre-order that.
For sure. Look, as soon as I got everything in line, you will be one of the first people to know, because we've been rocking for a good while, and I appreciate you, brother. For sure.
Yes, and those out there, we got a song together called Reloaded. It's been on several TV shows. So make sure.
Shout out the idea.
Yeah.
Yes. Pearl Gates.
Song,
Range the Messenger.
Go online and look up
Robot
the song
Scott.
Reloaded featuring us. And we've been rocking for a minute doing stuff like that. But so Jacqueline, like I said in the beginning, like, I'm excited that you came on the show. And I hope people, go check out your Instagram and everything and set up their pre-orders and everything like that. And before we go, I always like to say this to everybody out there before I leave. What are your words worth? Peace, y'all.
Hey.